Untrue. Let's go. Good morning. It is, well, it's Wednesday or Tuesday. I'm just wrapping up. Did 6 in a row, and my vacation holiday season has begun. Forgive me if I've got a little bit of a fuddled brain. But it is Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025. Welcome in, Mad Hatter Nation. How you doing? How you doing? Pull up a chair, gather around. We've got stories and news for you from around the NFL. Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf suspended 2 games for physically confronting a fan and win over Lions. And I'm not trying to be that guy, but I was a little irritated with the situation yesterday. And, well, what do you know? Video evidence concludes, well, DK Metcalf not only is a big ol' too early in the video to tell you exactly how I feel about it. Stick around for me to go ahead and fly off the handle later on. But he's also a liar. He's a big thing, a big pile of things, a big pile of stuff. And also a liar. Tried to play the race card and... well, similar to body cams. Ha ha ha! It's kind of blowing up in your face. Ha ha! Well. So, Steelers DK Metcalf has been suspended, though, 2 games the rest of the season for his confrontation with the fan. I think some Ryan Kennedy or something like that. So, good on the NFL, but a little too late. Should have interceded. Mike Tomlin should have interceded. I talked about that yesterday. If you can't remember, go back and watch yesterday's video. And while you're back there, go ahead and slap a hype down on yesterday's video. The more of those we can get, the better we can grow. We had a very successful yesterday, and it's all because of viewers like yourself there in Mad Hatter Nation helping us out. Then we're going to quickly skim through. Phillip Rivers delivers vintage first half performance for Colts, delighting NFL fans. Don't get lost in the fluff here. Ryan Gatos, this is the same guy that couldn't tell the difference between Jameson Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs. They're all looking the same, right? But Phillip Rivers delivers vintage first half performance for Colts, delighting NFL fans for the first half of the game. But then it did not go. Oh, Grandpa Phil's way. It is what it is. We will be talking about our Lions, though. Key questions: how can the Lions recapture the identity in the remaining games? As you guys know, we've talked about a little bit. We have been kind of lost in the sauce, if it were, a little out there in the weeds, not shutting down the run, not establishing the run. This isn't the team or the culture that we have had instilled by Dan Campbell during the rebuild, and this is not the winning ways that we are used to having this year. Well, it is interesting that we are reaching this point in the Detroit Lions existence where we're sitting here staring at 500, maybe a little bit better than 500, but a 500 team, and going, this season was a failure because we didn't make the playoffs. And that's justifiable considering the expectations that were laid out for the team going into the regular season. However, let's be honest. Let's go ahead and just look back at the years that used to be and how far we have come, that we now are realizing that a middling team, a successful but not overly successful team, is now a failure. We shouldn't accept it, and I'm glad to see that, although toxic to an extent with the fandom, and it is a little bit more combative communicatively amongst different sects of the fandom, it is nice though that the grand overall overarching feeling amongst the Lions fandom, the pride, is that we're not going to settle for this. This is unacceptable, and we demand more. The expectation was playoff, if not Super Bowl run deep into the postseason, and you failed to meet that expectation. So good on us. Good on us. That was one of my big worries heading into this as the season was wrapping up, is were we going to be a Cincinnati Bengals team where it's like, hey, a middling team is exactly, we're going to be totally fine with mediocrity, or are we going to be a team that demands excellence and will not settle for mundane, mediocre expectations? But the question then is, how can we recapture the identity with the remaining games, be it set the table for a playoff run or try and end on a high note, reestablish some cultural push heading into the offseason as you retool and reshape this franchise into something that needs to be more successful than what we've seen this year. That's period, point blank. I do have to shout out Rexy, sexy, Rexy, Ryan. Oh, another article by Ryan Gatos. I think he just writes all the articles for Fox News. Ex-NFL coach rips refs for penalty that took late Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown off the board. Lions wide receiver Isaac Tesla was called for pass interference on the final drive. We're not going to read it, but we will hear and watch what old sexy Rexy has to say. And needless to say, when I originally seen this clip on Twitter, made me wiggle my toes, Rex. Aha! Hat and beard is on fire today, guys. Slap like on the video for how funny I am being today. Oh, and then just real quickly, just to show you that things are always different for Detroit. We have a narrative for you. Oh, boys and girls, it's the holiday season, and ho, 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 gather round. Hat and Beard has a story for you guys, just to kind of bookend how it's Detroit versus everybody. And unless you've been here, you don't know it. But if you've been here or been a fandom for the Lions for any time, you get it. You get it, you get it, you get it. Look here, would you look at this? NFL confirms there will be no suspension for Saturday's brawl between Tyler Steen and the entire Commanders defense. Wasn't there a fight at the end of a game? I don't know. Week 8-ish. Week 7, week 8-ish. Somewhere in the, I don't know, Kansas City area. And I recall it happening after the game. So how the league could inflect. But, you know, hey, Brian Branch was suspended a whole ass game and fined a lot of money. But, hey, don't worry. Don't worry. Don't you worry, guys. The NFL treats everybody as equal. The Detroit Lions do not have any type of slight against them. And Nate Burleson definitely doesn't confirm that. Oh, what's this? What? To quote one of my favorite commentators, Mark Dice, what's this? Oh, what is this? Nate Burleson, Lions game on the line, tends to go the other way on 12/22/25 on the Dan Patrick Show. No, Nate Burleson and Dan Patrick are two wackaloons. This could not possibly be accurate. Are you serious? What's going on here? We'll take a little look here. And if we have time, I just had a pull up here of the draft board, ESPN's early, overall draft prospects in the first round here. We can kind of take a look here if we got time and if you guys are feeling it. But it is Tuesday before Christmas. I'm very excited. Are you guys ready for the Christmas? Are you guys ready for Christmas? I am super ready for Christmas. Comment down below if you're ready for Christmas. I'm very excited about it. Glad that we got to, but I do got to run some errands. So not going to be too long in the tooth today, right? But we will be here tomorrow. Don't worry. We will be right here tomorrow for a Christmas Eve day show lined up for you. So we're keeping it kind of cash today, guys. Kind of cash, kind of usual, kind of. Good morning, Brandy. Good morning, Brent. How you guys doing? Hanging out this morning. Do the things, buttons, bells, subscribe, notifications. Like the video, share it around, do the things, do the stuff. Follow me on Twitter at @hat_beard. Let's get into the show.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
Oh, I be monologuing way too hard at the beginning of these. Holy crappers, y'all. What's up, Mom? How you doing? Good morning. Good to see you, hopefully. Well, it's 10, quarter after 10. Hopefully you're not drinking this early in the morning, guys. But I would be if I woke up to see the news. And I thought about it. I actually thought about it. I was like, I got I got a couple soda pops in the fridge there. Why not go ahead and just take some of this bite out of my ass here? But Steelers DK Metcalf suspended 2 games for physically confronting a fan in the win over the Lions. That's right. We all seen what happened. Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Metcalf has been suspended 2 games without pay by the NFL for initiating a physical confrontation with a fan during Sunday's game at the Detroit Lions. The league announced on Monday. Good on you. Without pay? Good on you. Yeah. And considering what we're going to find out here, I think he's going to end up having to pay a few dollary dues to a certain individual. Metcalf's actions violate league policy, which specifies that players may not enter the stands or otherwise confront fans at any time on game day. And if a player makes unnecessary physical contact with a fan in any way that constitutes unsportsmanlike conduct or presents crowd control issues and or risk of injury, he will be held accountable, the league said in a statement. The video showed Metcalf approaching a male fan wearing a blue wig in the front row of Ford Field, grabbing him by the shirt and then swiping upward. It's unclear if Metcalf struck the fan. Tom Passario reported earlier Monday that Metcalf and the fan, whom the Detroit Free Press identified as Ryan Kennedy, have a history. Per Passario, Metcalf reported the same fan to a Seahawks security last season when he played for Seattle. The Seahawks played the Lions in Week 4. We know that. And they also played Detroit in 2022 and 2023. A source close to Metcalf told Passario that Kennedy on Sunday called Metcalf's mother a derogatory word. He called her a cunt, apparently, and that he called Metcalf something we both know you don't call a black man. He called him a... I'm just kidding. I'm not going to say that. You guys... yeah. You almost got it. I'm just kidding. On Monday, Kennedy issued a statement through an attorney that at no point before, during, or after the incident did Mr. Kennedy use racial slurs or hate speech of any kind. That's right. He cried racism, denies using the N-word, the C-word, or any racial, misogynistic, or hate-based slur during the incident that occurred December 21st, 2020, the Ford Field of Pittsburgh Steelers Detroit Lions game, the statement read via ESPN. These allegations are completely false, which then brings up the question, not only can he go after him for possible assault charges, but now can Mr. Ryan Kennedy actually go after him for defamation? I mean, this is, in today's world, let's be honest, well, 4 years ago, this would have been a absolute death sentence. But we see situations like Shiloh Hendricks or that Cinnabon worker where... let's just say people have racial fatigue, and you're no longer willing to listen to. We're no longer willing to listen to you just cry wolf all the time about everything. Metcalf finished. Yeah, nobody cares since he was drafted in Seattle. No, okay, since he was drafted in Seattle, he has a history of drawing unnecessary roughness and unsportsmanlike penalties. This year, Metcalf's been fined twice, $14,000 for an obscene gesture. And in Week 8, he was fined $12,000 for striking, kicking, and kneeing after he poked his finger in the face mask. Green Bay Packers linebacker Quay Walker. Quay Walker probably deserved it, though. He's kind of a ass hat. He's kind of a butthole. If the suspension is upheld, it could be costly for Metcalf. Based on his contract, the suspension will allow the Steelers, if they choose, to void not just the rest of his salary for the season, but $45 million in future guarantees, $25 million fully guaranteed in 2026, and $20 million in 2027 in an injury guarantee. Wow. All right. Go after it. Get him. Get him, boys. Go after his wallet. Holy shit. All right. Yes. Aha. 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 Nice. You like it. Karma's a bitch. Wives don't buy tickets. Fans do. That's why you're allowed to hit your wife in the NFL, but not a fan. Ah! Damn, Angelo. It's funny because it's true. Oh, what's up, Boxer? How you doing, brother? How you doing? They need an OC who understands how to utilize Lions' offensive weapons using the eye and wishbone formations. Yeah, bro, an American Boxer, that all starts with what we need to have happen in the offseason. Now, there are 2 very easy avenues to executing a successful running game for the Detroit Lions, and that is you got to have a fullback. And luckily, we have two guys who come to mind, if not three, very viable individuals, right? Now, namely, we like the idea here in Mad Hatter Nation, at least by myself, and we know that here in Mad Hatter Nation, my opinion is the only opinion. I'm just kidding. It's just the correct opinion. We need to have Ahmed Hassanin transition to fullback, and that will solve all of our I formation needs, or Malcolm Rodriguez will also solve all of our I formation needs, or... Now, this is a wild card, but it's something that I've been calling for. If you're going to run your friendly neighborhood Dan Skipper at your jumbo tight end spot, why not just go ahead and have a jumbo fullback? And I think Giovanni Manu would, yeah. Could you imagine Giovanni Manu lining up at the I formation just time after time after time? You could go 13 personnel. Well, that'd be more like a goal line if you ran an I formation, but you could go double tights with Skipper as your second tight end and an I formation with Giovanni Manu. And then here's a novel idea. Hey guys, here's a novel idea. Let me know if this sounds too off the wall for you. And this isn't a slight against a certain individual, okay? I know recently he hasn't been as productive in the run game as most people would like him to be, but if we're going to run a too tight I formation, kind of a jumbo package, it's not going to kill anybody to take Jahmyr Gibbs off the field. And it'd be nice if Detroit had kind of a little bit more of like a power back, somebody who kind of fits the mold of I don't know, someone who kind of fits the mold of do you guys remember this running back for the Bears? His name was Matt Forte. If there was a guy that I don't know, went to Iowa State and kind of fit that same build as a Matt Forte, somebody if his name was similar to I don't know, Donald Alabama, you know what I'm saying? Or Dennis Tuscaloosa, I don't know, something along those. David Montgomery. David Montgomery would be a cool name, something along those lines, like a power back. They could really punch it in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you guys get it. See, yeah, there we go. That's the name I was searching for. David Montgomery. It just feels so weird because I never see him. I totally forgot he was on the roster. I never hear his name said anymore. So outside of hearing speculation amongst Dan Campbell and articles that don't come to fruition, I guess I forgot that he was even on the roster. Rick, you didn't get the notification this morning. Well, what the heck? YouTube. But that we're going to start connecting dots. We're going to start looking for patterns. Trippy, if you're watching, we're watching for patterns. I noticed that I didn't get the spinning football when I hit the when you hit the like button. No spinning football. And I don't know if that's correlated or causated. Got an injured deer in your front yard, bro. Can you go and dispatch it, or are you in the city? Donnie Birmingham, broski. That's a good one too. You see where I was going with that. Nicely done. Earl Campbell was the dude. Hell yeah, he was, dude. You guys, so yeah, you see what I'm saying. If we could just appreciate it, Mr. Detroit City. Thank you, bro. It amazes me how little the Lions coaches understand the run game. And American Boxer, I really think that has to deal with the offensive scheme and mentality. All right, now I can't say I really think this simply because it just popped into my head when you said that. I think that starts with the mentality of where we went post Ben Johnson, because post Ben Johnson, we had two roads we could go down. We could either option A, Hank Fraley, offensive line coach turned offensive coordinator. You know where that mentality's at. You want to ground and pound, lean into your offensive line. Or option B, which was Johnny Moscreens. And why do we go with Johnny Moscreens? Well, Johnny Moscreens was the passing game coordinator for the Denver Broncos under Sean Payton, who Dan Campbell has a bit of a connection to. I don't know if he technically falls under the Sean Payton coaching tree or if he's really under the Bill Parcells coaching tree. Either way, there is the New Orleans coaching staff connection there. Also, John Morton had spent time here in Detroit a couple years back as assistant quarterbacks coach, something like that. But he was the passing game coordinator under Johnny Morton with Bo Nix. The NFL or the Broncos led the NFL in pass attempts over 20+ yards, and I think the idea was reduction in run game usage, lean into play action passes, and crack Jameson Williams open and early. As you've seen a lot of attempts to get the ball to Jameson Williams early before Dan Campbell took over, in a mild transition back to the running game. However, at that point in time, I feel like Dennis Birmingham was just totally forgotten about. And maybe that's what he needs to do. Maybe he needs to like put a wig on and sign as a free agent to the Detroit Lions. Hey, I'm Dennis Birmingham. I'm the new and I wear number 2. I'm number 2. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, what up, Derek? How you doing, brother? How you doing, man? What's up, Cody Utes? Is it Utes? Cody Utes. Monty is a better natural runner than Gibbs. Gibbs needs to stop losing yards. If nothing's there, then get to the line. Yes. Cody, it does, as much as I do love Jahmyr Gibbs, at times it's kind of like, dude, stop trying to make something happen. You're shooting yourself in the foot. You know what I'm saying? 2 Utes. Hell yeah, let's go. Hell yeah. I'm a rural area, but I don't have a tag, and she's too skinny away. Not much meat on her. Yeah, but I mean, can you go? Is it injured or like, Rick? What I'm saying is, can you go and make a suffering animal not suffer anymore? You know what I'm saying? Or will your neighbors be like, oh no, he's a terrorist? The line sucks too much. Speaking of, dude, I found out just the other day I had an interaction with my neighbor. I hadn't talked to him in a while. I've never seen a grown man fucking damn near start crying and quivering in his voice when he came over, and out of nowhere he just goes, dude, if anything happens, please just don't hurt my dogs. And my first thought was, what the fuck are you talking about, man? So apparently I am really scary. I guess I should have listened to all the complaints throughout my life in the workplace. Apparently I'm a terrifying individual, and people just think I'm a fucking crazy person. But, that's because I'm that guy that's like, Uncle Ted was right! Uncle Teddy was right! Life is good. God is great. Hell yeah, Mr. Detroit City. Ain't that the truth? You toots? Yeah, dude. So Cody, and that's the thing, bro. And this is the thing, dude. We get into way too many 2nd and 14s. I completely agree with that. Shout out Cody Utes, dude. Appreciate the interaction, dude, and engaging here in Mad Hatter Nation. Welcome home, brother. Yeah, 2nd and 14, and then the problem is that we end up in these. We're behind the sticks, 2nd and 14, right? And then we go to try and do a play action pass, or we try and run some type of a bullshit pass to make up because we're already in negative territory. And as we've seen, Brett Coleman breaks down. He's got a great video about how 2nd down sacks are drive killers. If you take a sack on 2nd down, you end up punting the ball like 76% of the time. Post a sack on 2nd down. They're absolutely drive killers. And our offensive line can't run block. We can't hold up in pass pro. I blew a lot of smoke up my own ass and then subsequently tried to blow it up everybody else's ass, that it was going to be just fine without Frank Ragnow, that Kevin Zeitler wasn't that big of a drop-off, and that even though we have literally been watching the decline of Taylor Decker over the past 2.5 years, I still was like, nah, Deck can do it. And then it's like, nah, dude, we need to replace that old Deck. We need to get a new Deck over there at the left side. I don't know, man. I don't know. I was a little encouraged by Gungun and Gungun. I thought he was pretty good. But there's just a lot of. I don't like the just good enough. I don't like the Graham Glasgow approach to it. Good on Graham Glasgow for trying to give it his all, but it's just not enough, dude. You know what I'm saying? I don't like having to rely on, to put it into terms of like building an NBA roster, we're trying to rely on role players to be our starting 5, and that just ain't really going to happen. I mean, yeah, Frank is all world, or I'm not, sorry, Penne is all world. Mahogany could have been. We can grandma wagon Mahogany all we want. We can grandma wagon Ratledge all we want. They're both young. They should, though. They at least in my projection or my estimation, they project well into the future. Frazier, I think, has a really bright future. But yeah, we need to figure out what we want to do for the left tackle or right tackle spot. Whatever you want to do. Is Penny going to just continue to play the right side? Is he going to transition back to his natural position on the left side? Okay, if that's going to happen, then what are you doing at the right side? What are we doing at that center spot? Are your guards going to stay where they're at? Are you going to move Ratledge over to the center? Are you going to put Frazier in at the right guard? What is the plan here? Yes, the season still is underway, so technically we can have a lot of transparency. I think that's part of the sobering reality of this season is that a lot of us know that even if we are to somehow limp our way into the playoffs, it's probably going to be a wild card exit, right? And I'm not out on the season. It's just the reality is we don't have the dogs. We don't have the dogs. We don't have the captains to control the ship, to navigate through these choppy waters. So I'm a little bit eager to get to the offseason so that we can start to have these conversations in extensively more autistic detail, really start to look things up. I mean, just so you guys are aware, we're definitely not going to have enough time to get to it, but I have pulled up over here draft class prospects already. I've been looking at prospects. I got a big old boner over Caden Proctor. I got a big old boner over Caden Proctor. I like Caleb Lomu, but I got a big old boner over Caden Proctor. The problem with Caden Proctor is they got him projected at number 20 right now. That's just his overall, like, talent-wise. So you figure he's probably a top 3 offensive line prospect, going to be in the top 15 projections. He goes and crushes it at the draft. My guy's going to shoot way up the board. Could even start to compete with Spencer Fano, depending on how the combine works out. Because, people do put a little bit too much weight behind the combine. I'm one of those people. I love the combine, but, it's just one of those things, guys. I'm a little anticipating the offseason. Sorry, we got a little chatting beard here, guys. Clone Penne during the offseason. That's what I'm talking about, American. Hell yeah. If Decker retire, I feel like tackle needs to be our first rounders pick. That's not a bad take, dude. That's not a bad take. You're not in the wrong. You're like, at the very least, you're not just in the right neighborhood. You are on the right street. You know what I'm saying? I can't say that you're going the right direction or that's the direction we need to go. But personally, you're not just in the neighborhood, brother. You are at least on the right street. You know what I'm saying? My neighbor would call the cops just to be an asshole. Well, your neighbor's an asshole then. Glasgow and Deck might be gone. Angelo, I'm going to go ahead and just issue a correction on that. Glasgow and Deck need to go. I'm actually of the belief that salvage yourself. Taylor Decker just needs to go on IR. Just pack it up, pack it in, and see what else we got. Unfortunately, it's going to leave Goff hanging for 2 weeks just to die out there. Yeah, Glasgow and Deck are definitely done. Learn several lessons. Just can't plug and play lesser aligned players. You're not wrong, broski. Also, this is something Lions fans are gonna. This is part of learning. We had to learn how to win. We also have to. This is gonna sound weird. We have to learn how to lose, but we have to learn how to lose in a completely different manner than we're used to. We used to just have to lose and go, "Yep, SOL." Now it's like, well, we have to lose while also maintaining a certain level of, expectation around the team and lose with grace. The problem is that the Detroit Lions don't typically lose, or it doesn't feel like we lose justifiably. You know what I'm saying? I'm fine with O-line and D-line of first 3 picks. Hell yeah, dude. Me too. Grab the best veteran center available. I'm on board with that. There should be some guys. Well, it depends. I'm kind of hoping that the Bills don't have enough money to re-sign McGovern. That'd be what's up. All right, we're at the 10:30 mark. Let's just quickly kick over here. I don't really care about the Colts game, and I can't imagine a lot of you guys care about the Colts game either. Don't really care about how the Lions can recapture their identity. What I do care about is the national media starting to kind of turn in our favor. What's going on here? Come on, Fox News. Whoopsie, poopsie. And I think we all seen it, and we all agree. But Rex Ryan. Shout out Rex Ryan. Think of Rex Ryan what you want, but it made me wiggle my toes for him. And if you get that joke, haha. Is this the... Do we have the actual Rex Ryan clip? Come on. Is this the Rex Ryan clip? Come on. Dude, why do I have no audio?
It's the year-end sales event with the 4
What the
great
hell?
final days.
What is
Initiate Final
happening?
Days protocol.
And just announced Final Days bonus cash. That's 1,000 bonus cash back.
What is
That's
happening?
on top of other
Why am I
offers.
getting ads?
Built Ford tough
What the
trucks
hell?
are moving fast. Ford
Dude.
SUV is almost gone. Built while Bronco
Said
family
pause.
adventure is selling quick.
Lease
I
an
said
Explorer
pause.
with $449 due at signing.
Okay.
Or finance
This
at
needs to
0%
end.
for 60 months with no payments for
That
90
needs to
days.
stop.
Only at your neighborhood Mission
Boy,
Ford dealer.
I am an absolute Luddite.
26-19, the final score. Atlanta with the victory. Brady, what is the single biggest thing we learned today?
Bijan Robinson special. If we didn't already know that coming into the game, I think we found that out.
I have
here
no
today.
idea what's playing.
Truly an incredible talent.
I have
both in
no
the run
idea
game
what's
and catching
playing
the
right now.
football out of the backfield, but he's a weapon, and it's hard to stop him. And with all the other compensating,
I have absolutely no idea what audio is
playing.
playing.
Season say what could have been with some of those close games they couldn't pull out. Today was one of those games, though. They came back, they're able to hold on and win the game.
His family was down there chanting at the
Okay,
end of the game.
good
you
Lord.
Can hear them down there. It's just
I do not care. Oh my God. I did not come here to listen to Brady Quinn talk about the biggest takeaway from the Bucks game. Jesus, jumping up and down. This is that bullshit that I'm talking about. Like, the internet, it's a glorious thing, but it's also a bunch of dildos, man. Okay. Now will this work? Nope. Nope. No audio on this. No audio on this. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, well, anyway, I guess I'll just go ahead and fill in for Rex Ryan, showing you what we all seen here. And you guys know me. When we watch film and break down calls like this, I tend to lean into body language, physics, body mechanics, that type of stuff. I'm not exactly sure who 29 is here. Oh, hang on. Yeah, I just glanced over at the chat. And gosh dang it all. Cody, if Ragnar wants back, do we take him next year? As much as I would like to say yes, no. He needs to, clearly, if he came back and he was like, I've never felt better in my life, I'm completely healed, and they're like, dude, your hamstring's hanging on by a thread, and he's like, but I've never felt better, and they're like, dude, but your hamstring's about to fall off the bone. No, you just got to walk away while you can still walk away. But real quick, Brent. Why do you just know all the guys that I want to talk about? Slaughter. Dude, that center from Florida, brother, does he not look like Frank Ragnow when he's playing? Brother? That's our guy. That guy right there, that Slaughter guy. That Slaughter guy from Florida, that's our guy, dude. That right there is our guy. That's the guy we need to be going after. That's the guy. Yeah, that I was like, oh, right there's our guy. Here's our guy right there. I've been kind of high on him for the past couple of days. But we lean into body mechanics over here, physics, leverage, that type of stuff. I'm not sure who number 29 is, so we're just going to call him Dildo Baggins. So Dildo Baggins is lined up here on Amon-Ra, right? And here we go. We're going to slow it down. And we start our route. Amon-Ra is going to hit him with that little point guard pivot and cut that he does. Notice how Amon-Ra does this thing where he doesn't expel energy and pump his head. Notice how Tesla uses his upper body a lot. Watch how both of these two wide receivers are essentially going to make the same maneuver, but in opposite directions, so towards one another. So they're going to run, pivot, and cut in like a quick out. I'm not a wide receiver, so I don't understand these routes or what they're called. So I'm just going to call it a pivot and out, a pirouette. But here you're going to see Amon-Ra, he's going to put his foot in, and without moving his upper body or head too much, he's just going to go. Whereas Tesla, notice how he's got a little bit wider of a base. His ankles are already kind of turned outward a little bit, anticipating the maneuver, and his upper body is really going to shift. These are the small things that Amon-Ra does that makes him so elite, shifty, a real surgeon out there on the field. But here we go. We're going to get into our routes and pump, and notice how they do it almost at the same time. Boom, and they're damn. Look at that. Do you see that harmony? This is just poetry in motion. This is just synchronous. Just doop. No, look at that. They are both in the same steps at the same time. We're gonna look at that. Watch their legs. Watch them and poop. Look at that. Look at that. Would you look at this? Oh, would you look at that? That's just pure. It's beautiful, and it sucks that the refs have to go and just destroy such beauty. They're such just the refs must be liberals because they hate beautiful things. They just love to destroy and make things ugly because I'm a whiny little baby back bitch. Look at him, boop, and we're gonna cut, and we're both pivot. Oh, the beautifulness of it. And here's Dildo Baggins, right? So obviously you see 24 here. Joey Porter Jr. is already on it, absolute pro, reading Tesla, the rookie, reading his body language. He's already shadowing Tesla perfectly. Jalen Ramsey's coming out here on Goff, who's rolling out. Patrick Queen's trying to cut. Looks like he's going to try and come out and just be on a little bit of a spy action. But Dildo Baggins over here is trying to cover Amon-Ra, and he's going to turn, pivot, turn, run. Okay. Now, how is this not OPI? One, the defender already has his head turned and can see everything developing, so he's already anticipating Isaac Tesla coming around in traffic, and he's turned. Now, Tesla is being shoved, as you can see here, Isaac Tesla. If you look very closely, I don't know if you guys can see on your screen, but very close here, you can see Isaac Tesla's arm is into his body. His elbow is crossing the number 18, making it or the number 8 of the 18, making it look like a backwards 9. Okay, so Joey Porter Jr. is actually pressing down on the wide receiver. I wouldn't call that defensive PI unless it occurred, within the allotted lineage or a limitation of the line of scrimmage. I'm not going to get too ticky-tacky on that. Let the boys play. But you can see Dildo Baggins already here has his head turned. He's not watching Amon-Ra. He's actually, if you look at the angle on their helmet, so the stripe of Pittsburgh's helmet's going to be the very telling thing here. If that stripe was turned about 8.5 to 10 degrees inward following Amon-Ra, then yeah, you would have an argument for being blindsided in a pick play, offensive pass interference, whatever you want to call it. But you can see the angle of his head here is turned, and his eyes should be directed forward. So at the very least, he can see this big blue body, all 6'2" of Isaac Tesla crashing down on him, or in this case, being shoved. There you see the full actual shove, where Joey Porter Jr. is attempting to shove Tesla into Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra being the absolute professional. You can see the angle of his body shifting as he's now working around Tesla, where they're trying to congest him up. And Dildo Baggins over here is already turned, pivoted. You can see his hips have shifted. His right leg has pushed into the ground. The rubber crumb on Ford Field is a telling here, where you can see a little bit of the shadowing kicking up, where he's actually pivoting to push off to bring himself into Isaac Tesla. Because what the safety is probably reading right here, or whoever this is, Dildo Baggins is probably reading right here, as he knows the defensive coverage. You can see Jalen Ramsey, Patrick Queen coming down. Joey Porter Jr. is going to have to come across and take Tesla one-on-one across, while all the action's coming over here. So what you're having here is two options. You're either going to have Tesla open across the back of the end zone for his second score of the day, or Amon-Ra slipping out into the flat here, right, like what we've seen happen to perfection. Either way, this play is designed to break one of these two guys open. If you go into the understanding, though, and this is putting a lot of assumptions on knowing or assuming that the safety, Dildo Baggins here, understands exactly how the coverage is supposed to be working out, he's going to then try and bottle up Tesla in anticipation of stopping him from getting over in an attempt to push coverage off, thinking that Porter's probably going to. If you look at Joey Porter, it looks like he's starting to hesitate a little bit, knowing that this is kind of his zone to cover if they're not into a man coverage, if they're in a full zone coverage, where he'll have to cover Amon-Ra St. Brown. Probably a little bit of confusion here, as well as the bottlenecking, but Dildo Baggins over here, if you look at his body language, is completely anticipating the impact and setting to slow down Tesla in a chippy play. I would call this defensive pass interference, because here comes his arms. How is this offensive pass interference when his arms are coming up? Again, look at the crumb kicking out from underneath. Unfortunately, his white cleats are really telling and putting a good contrast between the blue AstroTurf and the black rubber crumb. Where he's pushing off, his arms are coming up as he's now going to jam into Isaac Tesla and commit defensive pass interference. Look at that. He's anticipating. He's rocking forward. He's anticipating. And boom. Initiates the contact with Isaac Tesla. How is that offensive pass interference when Joey Porter Jr.'s arms have turned and are pushing Isaac Tesla into a, let's be honest, launching himself Dildo Baggins to obstruct the play? How is this at all offensive pass interference? They got it wrong. Ref ball wins again, and you see that they end up, look at that. How is that offensive pass interference? You're going to have to go ahead and explain this to me like I'm a dumbass because I don't understand. Wow. So this is the equivalent of Colby Parkinson being 3 yards short of the end zone and calling it a touchdown. This is just the refs fucking us again, man. This is just absolutely egregious. This is just disgusting. This is just disgusting. They call that offensive pass interference. That is offensive pass interference. That's OPI that he's clearly trying to fight through. The camera's going to start to lose him, but he's still clearly trying to fight through this double team. How is that OPI? At the very least, that's defensive pass interference. Let's just watch it start to finish at full speed. Boom! Hits to Slaw. Yeah, that's offensive pass interference. It's a bad call. Yeah, that's a bad call, he said. It's just fucking, sorry, guys, I got a little distracted just thinking about how absolutely bullshit that was. Oh, man, how we doing, Mad Hatter Nation? What's up, Carrie? How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. How you doing? Hell yeah, Mr. Troy City. Clemson won the Natty with that play in 16. Yeah, you're right, dude. You're right, they did. Save that video as evidence for the corruption case against the NFL someday. Yeah, I wish, American Boxer. I wish, dude. Nothing's ever going to change. Nothing's ever going to change, dude. Yes, sir, Rick. You are completely right. Everyone's talking about the last play. Everyone's talking about the last play. And I hate to grandma wagon this statement, but that last play never should have happened. That offensive pass interference that they called it to Slaw was absolute bullshit. And not for nothing, that pass interference on St. Brown was kind of ticky-tacky too. But we never should have been in that situation because that was just a bad call right there. That was just a bad call. And just to continue piling on here, so here we go. NFL confirms there will be no suspension for Saturday's brawl between Tyler Steen and the entire Commanders defense. Yes, look at this. Look at this. Yes, no, but Brian Branch, Brian Branch gets massively fined. Tyler Steen, the fourth quarter, the Eagles jammed a 2-point conversion to stretch the lead to 29-10. The Commanders completely lost the plot, which should have been a quiet walk to the locker room, turned into a full-on brawl near the end zone. Punches were thrown. Officials panicked, and Washington embarrassed itself one final time this season. Tyler Steen basically got jumped. Multiple Commanders swarmed him, and Steen responded exactly how you'd expect an offensive lineman to respond when an entire defense decides it's time to throw hands. Tyler Steen versus the world. Let's play it. Oh, it's going to take me to Instagram. Gross. I'm good. It wasn't toughness. It wasn't rivalry football. This was frustration boiling over from a team that entered the season wildly overhyped and now sits at 4-11, staring down the reality that the year was a waste of time. The Commanders talked all offseason. They talked early in the year. They talked themselves into relevance for weeks, and when the Eagles finally put them away, they did what bad teams always do, by lashing out and pretending they still had fight left in their walking corpses. Meanwhile, the Eagles handled their business the right way. They won 29-18 and clinched the NFC East for the second straight season and officially eliminated the Cowboys from playoff contention when they walked from the field with the division title in hand while Washington melted down behind them. No suspension means Steen won't miss time, which matters. The fines will come, but that's a small price to pay. At this point in the season, you'd rather hit the wallet than the depth chart. For Washington, though, none of this really matters. Their season has been over for weeks. Saturday night was just the final confirmation. Soft team, lost year, predictable ending. The Eagles sent their message on the scoreboard. The Commanders responded with chaos. That tells you everything you need to know. Very well put. I like that. Nicely done. Shout out, I know we kind of skimmed through it, but shout out the Liberty Line. Okay. All right. Hey, shout out these guys. Hey, maybe this isn't too bad. The Liberty Line, huh? Drew Smith. Hey, all right. Shout out Drew Smith and the Liberty Line. Nicely done. Nice art. Nice little article here. But just to showcase you that the Lions get heavy-handed treatment while the rest of the league gets a little slappy-dappy-dappy on the wrist. At worst-case scenario, they won't get suspended, but they will be told to go stand in the corner with a dunce hat on. That's about the most extent that happens to non-Detroit Lions players. Had this been, yes, if then, grandma wagon, other shoe on, other foot, This is Brian Branch. Well, they would have arrested him. If Brian Branch would have struck a fan like DK Metcalf, well, he'd be incarcerated. Brian Branch would be persona non grata to Alligator Alcatraz. Okay. Heavy-handed discipline coming to the Detroit Lions. Heavy-handed regulations officiating coming to the Detroit Lions. Egregious, terrible calls always happening to the Detroit Lions. And yes, I know. I sound like sour grapes. Detroit Lions fans sound like a bunch of whiny crybabies. Well, people are starting to notice, and people are starting to speak out. I'm going to give a lot of respect. First of all, I am a huge Dan Patrick fan. I loved him on ESPN. I used to listen to the Dan Patrick Show on the radio every single day. All right, when I was working for DTN especially, dude, when I was cruising around doing apartment maintenance all day. Dan and the Danettes. I used to want to be a Danette. That was like my goal, was to work on the Dan Patrick Show. Big fan of the Dan Patrick Show. I liked Nate Burleson when he was in Detroit, right? It was like, hey, all right, Nate Burleson broke his arm trying to deliver or come home with a pizza one day, get into an accident, and that sucks. A little bit more of a TV personality now. Whatever. Good on you. Do your thing, man. It is what it is. I don't watch CBS really at all. To be honest, I really don't watch CBS at all outside of football. I got to give Nate Burleson props. Rex Ryan blatantly calling out bad officiating. The Lions have been saying, hey, can the league please review these calls? I need further clarification. We all seen it. We've seen it time after time after time on national television. The Lions getting routinely screwed. So I just got to give you this little 3-minute video here, and we're going to end on this. And it is Nate Burleson. Lions games on the line tend to go the other way. And this is Nate Burleson just yesterday on the Dan Patrick Show.
I'm still trying to figure out how the official says touchdown and then says however. Okay, so help me understand that in the Lions-Steelers game where it's not a touchdown because there was a penalty, so why would you start with your ruling, calling it a touchdown, and then saying, but there was pass interference, no touchdown, game over, drive home safely?
Yeah, see, I listen, man, let's keep it real. This is what I like to keep it real with you. I was drafted by the Vikings playing in the NFC North. Went to Seattle for 4 years.
Pay attention.
Right?
Pay attention.
And then I had an opportunity to sign another deal. So I went to Detroit. And I remember when I got there, guys were scoring. They were like, look, the league doesn't like us. And Nate, playing here is rough. Not just because we're trying to exercise demons, but when a game is on the line, it tends to go the other way. You know, and I'm like, no. I've been in the league for 7 years now. And I get it. There's some close calls, but football is football, right? And they're like, no, Nate, I don't think you understand it. When it comes to the Lions, there are certain games that just don't go our way, even though everybody knows they should. Now, I remember questioning that, doubting that. And then one year we open up in Chicago. It's a close game. You know, those division games are really like two. And it's the Lions versus the Bears. We're in Chicago. Last minute, Hail Mary throw up to Calvin Johnson. He catches it. He has it in one hand, palming it with his big old mitts. He slides on the hip. He even has like an elbow down. And then he goes to get up on both hands, and one still has the ball in it. And he just pushes himself up off the ground and he lets the ball go. Even the Chicago Bears were dapping us up saying, hey, good game, man. Good game. Yeah, y'all won that one. We'll see y'all a little later on, in Detroit. And as the rest are sitting there meeting with each other, we're sitting back thinking, what the hell are you meeting about? Game over. That's the catch. We're 1-0 right now. Sure enough, they come back. They look at the cameras and they say, incomplete pass, game over. I was blown away. I really was. And I can't help but to think about all of these moments throughout Detroit Lions history where our eyes see one thing, but then the reality is something else. Now, Amon-Ra, he extended fully on that one by the goal line. I think 9 times out of 10, they're looking for that full extension. They're going to call that. But the touchdown before that, though, where they call it a pick play, but the DB pushed it. I believe it was Tesla. Pushed him. Smart play by the DB, by the way, because if you push a guy into somebody else, you lose balance. The key is when you're running a pick play, you're swimming over the guy, you're running through the guy, you're making a move to make it seem like you're running a route. I think the DB recognized that and was like, I'm going to shove him, throw him off balance. Now I'm off balance. I'm just trying to stay up. It looks like I'm leaning one way or the other, and it looks like a pick play. But I still think that was a perfectly executed play, touchdown by the Lions, game over. But here we are again, another example of how we think one thing and the refs call another.
Okay, wait, Nate. You actually thought that the NFL had something against the Lions.
Players that played for the Lions said that to me,
you
and I thought
petty
to myself,
bitch.
nah, that can't be. And then when they took that catch away from Calvin, a lot of Lions fans and Bears fans and people that just love, big plays by Calvin Johnson, they remember this play.
Just say it.
He caught that damn ball. I don't care what anybody says. The
Okay.
whole back
There you
here was
go.
like the action of the catch. You got to catch it, go to the ground, and get up, and then walk to the locker room, take a shower, then take the bus home and the flight, and then bury it in the backyard. Yeah, I just feel like that catch right there was a catch, and that it left a sour taste in my mouth. Listen, the cookie's going to crumble one way or the other. I just felt like we weren't getting, our crumbs.
I just felt like we weren't getting our crumbs. Yep. At least he flat out said it, dude. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it took him a minute, but he's like, look, they said we were scoring, and I'm like, all right, he's going to be a bitch. Then he goes, and then after that catch, I'm like, yes! Yes! Ah! Cody, you are completely right, brother. I think we lost that Detroit versus everyone mentality. We need to get that grip back and screw everyone else. Yes, dude. Remember when Brad was wearing that villain shirt, dude? Get back to it. Get back to that. Just fucking do it, baby. Just beat that ass. Just belt to ass, y'all. Belt to ass. All right, guys. Appreciate you hanging out today. We got a little bit more chat and beardy than normal, but we are going to go ahead and wrap it on up. Appreciate each and every one of you who took part in the poll. Yeah, this is kind of how I thought we were going to go all offseason. It's going to be quite the topic of conversation. O-line or defensive end in the first round of the draft. 56% of you say O-line, center or tackle. 44% of you say D-end. Hutch needs as Robin. That is, I'm going to be honest, that is very close. That is a very tight poll. You know what I'm saying? I like that. What's up, Kane? How you doing? Since the trade deadline, if Brad Holmes has already written the season off and decided not to spend money because he knew the season was a bust. I do think there is something to that. I think maybe he understood the reality of the situation. We didn't have the back end. Kirby's knee was fucked. Losing TA, not having a rake straw for whatever good that could have been, Draft slaughter, yeah, dude. American, don't worry, American. So I guess we'll just chat and beard it up for the last little bit here, guys. We're going to go ahead and just get through the holidays, and then starting in January, what I'm going to do is we're going to still have our daily live show. I'm also then going to be working on 1 or 2 standalone videos to do draft prospects per week. A little just draft prospect of guys that I'm looking at, just a little standalone video. I was also then thinking about so I'll wrap up the live show, and then I was going to find another story and do like a Tim Pool just video segment standalone. So there will be theoretically the live show 5 days a week, plus a bonus video 5 days a week, plus 1 to 2 extra standalone draft prospect videos. But to do that, it's going to be a lot of work on my end and the back end. Kind of going to have to batch everything together and just do a lot. But it's something that I think that would really help grow outside of the live stream. Based on the metrics, you guys are dedicated as shit. I got one of the most committed fan bases by the metrics that you could actually ask for. I'm in quite the gold zone. Which I really appreciate. You guys are friggin' awesome, dude. I feel like we're the island of misfit toys over here, a bastion of sanity and a sea of nonsense. But I would like to kind of grow a little bit more here, and I think that by putting more content out is in form of not a live stream would be kind of beneficial. So, but all that to say, yeah, Slaughter is a guy that I'm very high and mighty on. DK would not try that shit in a small town. That's for damn sure. Hell yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly, Mr. Detroit City. Preach, brother, preach. All right, y'all. Well, try and have yourself a good rest today. Get all of the last-minute shopping you need to get done. Hat and Boobs has already written me a list that I need to go, and I got to grab some stuff from the store. Then I got to run to the west side, got to grab some stuff, and I'm going to try and sneak on over to Home Ripoff. I need one of them plastic mats for under my chair here because I'm losing almost an inch rolling around on this Berber-ass carpet, dude, and it's starting to fucking irritate me. So you want one of them mats for my chair to roll around up in here, and then I'm thinking maybe I might redo the studio again here. I haven't decided. Eventually here between now and like the start of next season, get some more cameras, a new camera, change some things around in here. But we got plans. We got plans. But we are growing, dude. You guys are wild as hell. Y'all are wild as hell. We are growing really hardcore, dude. We were barreling down on 1,000 subscribers, and I appreciate each and every one of you that show up every day, who comment, who engage in the chat, who share this around. Don't forget to come back and hype videos. That's awesome. That's awesome. So there will be more content out for you guys to enjoy, though, in the coming weeks. So just sit tight and get ready for that. We would end up with some more piercings, if you understand. Ha 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 ha! Well. Yeah, Swiss cheese. DK Swiss cheese. You know what I'm saying? Man, I don't mean that. It's a joke. Calm down. Calm down, people. Calm down. All right, we'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., guys. Have yourself a good rest of the day. Stay out of trouble. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Until next time, bonga bonga.